Candace Owens returns after about a 2-week hiatus, coming back with another bombshell. The whole internet's going crazy. The video just racked up about 800,000 views in a couple hours after her live stream. And we're going to go over some new footage that has been released that is actually narrowing down what actually happened with this Charlie Kirk situation, because none of it is adding up. So right now I'm going to show you her main point, and I'm just going to walk you through this if you're new to this whole thing and how it's transpiring.
That clip in its entirety. Mark is going to bring it in.
So this is the guy that we need to pay attention to right here. He's right here. The phone, he has a phone, and it just straight up lifts to his ear less than a second after Kirk is shot. Look at this. Lifts up the phone to his ear. And it's talking, just walking away. This is supposedly Kirk's friend. Right after he shot, lifts up the phone to his ear, walks away like nothing crazy just happened. Oh, I got to catch up my ride. My Uber just came. Mikey McCoy. Very interesting.
So we decided to slow this clip down, and we're going to watch this clip slow down so you can see that it is exactly 834 milliseconds from the time that you hear the shot. That is how long it takes for Mikey McCoy to put the phone to his ear. Now, why is that precise timing so important? Because there's no dialing. Mikey didn't have time to dial, okay? You can't dial and put your phone to an ear in 0.834 seconds. The next time that you're going to see Mikey McCoy, as we just showed you, is in just under 2.5 seconds on the other side of the tent. He's on a phone call. So we can track Mikey, but let's watch the clip again in milliseconds so you really grasp how quickly this transpires. So when this clip was brought... There we go, we're tracking that. Yeah, when the clip was brought to my attention, I obviously have a file, a big folder of files of every angle, and I decided to track Mikey from every angle available to see, like, maybe we just missed it, and he did at some point put that phone down, dial a number, speed dial, hold down one, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a normal reaction, guys. You just hear a loud noise, whatever it is, and hear people screaming and running, and this is the first thing you do, and just get up and just start walking like you're catching an Uber. Like, and it's not adding up. This is very suspect. Let's just say that. Very suspect.
Maybe we missed it. Because that seems automatic, right? 0.834. That seems pretty quick. And no, he doesn't do that. We even have him in front of Charlie's car. When Charlie is brought to the car, the waiting car rather, he is still on the phone. And I can show you the clip of that. Take a look at this. Don't worry, we'll slow it down for you. See him in the background with the backpack. It's Mikey McCoy, okay? So what are we to make of that? The only logical conclusion that I can come up with, and many others, because I've pressed, I said, play devil's advocate. I want you to advocate for Mikey McCoy. I want you to play lawyer, and you are representing your client, Mikey McCoy. What was he do? How did he do it this quickly? No one could win this game. The only logical conclusion that we come up with was that Mikey was already on a phone call at 12:23 p.m. By 12:23 p.m., he was already on a phone call. So I said, let's go back a little earlier in the footage and see if we can find when he actually maybe dials onto the phone. Maybe we can see him pick up the phone and begin a call before the shot takes off. And then after beginning that call, if we're following this logic, that would mean he puts his phone down until Charlie gets shot. And we were able to find what we think could be that moment. And I can tell you that it is 1 minute and 45 seconds approximately before that shot goes off. And we can watch that here. You see Mikey's on his phone here. And you're going to see he pulls it up and he starts to cover his ear again. Now, that could be unrelated. Again, we're taking a guess here. That's what made the most sense to us because we couldn't justify it in any other way. And I want to be clear, we're not here to make assumptions, okay? And we wouldn't have to make any assumptions if Turning Point USA could just tell the truth. They could just be open and they could be honest about everything. Okay, I obviously went out to both Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvett for a statement, asked those two questions. Hey, who were you on the phone with? What's going on here? No response.
No response. If there's no involvement from these people, if they didn't collaborate in some way with this assassination, why don't just answer, make a statement about this? Who were you talking to? Who were you calling? What's going on here? But it's just so much in the shadows behind this whole thing. None of it makes sense. And I get why Candace is actually going in depth with her research about what actually transpired on 9/10. Because that's actually what you do when you have a friend and nothing is adding up and you want to find out what's going on. You actually do the research, you dig and dig and dig. If you really care about somebody and nothing is making sense, who is actually buying the supposed narrative that what's the guy's name? I don't even remember his name because I don't even think he's important. Tyler Robinson, who's really buying that narrative? It is not adding up. It is not adding up at all. And so it gets better, folks. It gets better because Mikey McCoy's father, he's a pastor. And he was talking about this whole situation about the event and how his son was right there and had blood all over him, messing up the recollection of what actually happened. So now I'm going to show you that because none of this adds up. None of it makes sense. And it's just further proof, I believe, that this is a whole giant cover up and that Charlie was betrayed by those very close to him.
And JFK had a plan. Like in the event that he had been horrifically assassinated in front of the world, JFK maybe had a succession plan. Now, if these terms I'm using here sound familiar to you, it's because they should sound familiar. It's the exact terminology that was utilized by Pastor Rob McCoy just 4 days after Charlie was murdered. In front of his congregation, he spoke about Charlie's succession plan that he was somehow privy to. I don't know why, but he knew 4 days later and announced to the world that Charlie indeed had a plan. Take a listen.
Everyone's worried about the leadership of TPUSA. Don't. He was wise enough at 31 to put together a plan for succession. It's very clear what they decided, and they're implementing it now.
Amazing. I mean, amazing. So on September 14th, we were made aware of this succession plan. And I find that to be fascinating. The people
it's kind of eerie.
Didn't know Charlie all around the world seem to be fighting harder for him, fighting harder for truth. And it is, in fact, thanks to people on the internet like Sam Parker, James Lee, Ian Carroll, Zeb Boykin, many others.
Yeah, it's so weird that people that don't even know him in person are really trying to get down and figure out what actually happened. They seem to care more than the people actually that was closest to him, part of his organization, even part of his own family and close friends. It's really, nothing is adding up here. And he speaks again. Listen to this.
As a father, I want to protect my son. And I thought, I got a plan for you, son. He said, Dad, that's not Charlie's plan. And you know what? I'm looking at my son who's 24 years old. Justin's the CFO, chief financial officer, and Mikey's the chief of staff. And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray.
Hold on, somebody mentioned this in the comments, and I really want to point this out. How did he know a minute after that Charlie's been shot in the neck when he didn't even see the whole thing transpire? As soon as the shot rang out, picked up the phone, walked away really quick. Like, what? He didn't even see that. How did he know?
It's okay, son. He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him, and
he didn't.
Two things I want you to remember here. You may not have caught that, but he said, I was watching, and the minute Charlie got shot, he called, and Mikey McCoy says to his dad, Charlie's been shot, pray for him. He says the minute, maybe he's being a little hyperbolic. We're going to find out. I'd certainly like to find out. But he stops himself. He says, I was watching. Watching what exactly? What were you watching? I wouldn't remember that. It's rubbing me the wrong way. And I'm going to tell you why that's rubbing me the wrong way in a little bit. But the bigger thing is that he says Mikey had blood all over him. Except Mikey did not have blood anywhere near him because Mikey was behind the tent when Charlie got shot. And Mikey, in less than a second, does something that I find to be quite strange. He puts his phone to his ear and he begins a conversation. So we're going to watch that clip in its entirety. Mark is going to
we
bring
already
it in.
watched that. We've already watched that, folks. Now we're going to go to the next clip of the guy who apparently took the footage from that camera in the back of this little tent. And how he was acting is so weird. So we're going to check that out here.
But this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself. It's a selfie video. Takes a video of himself. So let's watch that video.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
That looks super fake, by the way. Forrest, that's what it looks like.
That's the first time it was announced, actually, that Charlie Kirk was dead. It's kind of weird. Go ahead, catch your breath, hit rewind, watch it again, watch it over and over again like I did, because you're probably thinking out loud, what the F did I just watch? What's going on? What were Charlie's closest friends and allies and the people that were going to carry on the torch doing? Picking up phone calls they were already on and filming themselves and prematurely announcing when not a single person could have known.
Yeah, that's weird when he said he's dead. Like, how did he know he died?
That Charlie Kirk is dead. Less than a minute. Declared dead. No instinct to run towards him. No instinct to run further away, maybe because you got to backtrack and go get the cameras a minute.
This is a giant conspiracy, y'all. And the official narrative is not what it is. And so many people that think, Candace is crazy because she's going so deep with this thing. And I've had people get on me like, why are you promoting Candace? Why are you talking about her? The amount of Candace hate I've seen recently is astounding. I've even had a close supporter of mine who actually was a donor of mine. And it's their perspective and their free will and whatever, what they decide to do with their money. But they told me that if I continue promoting her, which I don't even see it like that. I'm not promoting her like, you need to follow Candace Owens. You need to be under her leadership. You need to be under her spiritual authority. And she needs to be your role model. That's not at all what I'm doing here. I disagree with her on a lot of things, on Catholicism for one. But what I'm doing here is I'm in agreement with her about her questioning the official narrative that is the Charlie Kirk situation. Forget about everything else. I don't care. She may have done some things in her past that were not the best, character flaws. Well, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But what are we looking at here? What are we looking at? The official narrative. And she's questioning that. A lot of people aren't. And she's right to question that. She was a friend of Charlie Kirk's. And more people need to actually question what's happening with this. Even people close to him, they're just accepting it for what it is. Oh, official narrative, whatever that guy's name is. What's his name again? See, I can't remember because it doesn't matter. I don't believe it. Tyler Robinson. Yeah. This LGB guy who just wanted to go out and assassinate Charlie because of different political beliefs? No, this is what they do all the time. JFK and some stuff I don't even want to mention because it probably flagged for censorship, but something that happened in September 2001. The official narrative is 99.9% a lie, especially with big events like this. And so she's doing the right thing to question that. And this was a conspiracy. And so I'll tell you what I see. And it seems to be there's a separation that's happening in the world, not just in a specific church, but it's happening in the church as well. And I'm part of the body of Christ at church. But it's also happening in the world. It's like either you're going to question the narrative or you're not. You're going to believe the narrative. And the people who believe the narrative, they're calling the people who question the narrative crazy conspiracy theorists. It's like you can't have a sound mind and question things to them. They'll just think you're crazy. And I'd rather be on the side of questioning the official narrative because Satan, the Bible says Satan is the god of this world. He is the father of lies and he deceives the world. And so Satan is literally the one who rules this fallen, wicked world. Why should I believe the powers that be, what they tell me is happening? Why should I actually believe them? I'm going to assume I'm being lied to. Assume I'm being lied to. Especially if mass media and the people that's in the highest positions of power, why would they tell you the truth? You got to question things. And so if you think Candace is crazy because she's questioning this, then you got to consider me crazy too. Again, I'm not backing her fully on everything she talks about. You got to learn how to compartmentalize different aspects of a person. Candace is right here. She's wrong in this area. She's not right about everything. She's right about certain things. She's wrong about Catholicism. And people were getting on her because she had this dream that Charlie Kirk was in. And she says she taught Charlie Kirk in the dream. Well, let me tell you something. It's actually not unbiblical. Because number one, you cannot control your dreams. You have a dream and you don't like, I'm going to dream this before I go to sleep. And then you dream it. I mean, maybe some people can do this. I can't. I just go to sleep and I dream. It happens to me. I'm dreaming and it just happens to me. Some people have been able to have more control in their dreams. I'm not going to get into that. But from what I can tell, she's not speaking about witchcraft. She's not saying she determined I'm going to meet Charlie in the spiritual realm and do necromancy. That's outlawed in the Bible. Speaking to dead people, unclean spirits, necromancy. No, she just explained she had a dream and Charlie was in it. That's actually biblical. There were dreams in the Bible and Joseph was one of the interpreters of dreams, that messages were given in dreams. And so again, dreams happen and she doesn't control, most people don't control their dreams. If they do, well, I don't know, but she never explained that she controlled it. So we can't take it that far. She didn't explain witchcraft. She just says she dreamed about Charlie. Charlie was in it and they spoke. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who had people who were close to them and they passed had spoke to that person in their dream after they passed away. Does that mean they're somehow on witchcraft? No, they had a dream. This person was close to them. You do dream about things, you know. For those who think she's in witchcraft just because of this, you do dream about things or people who you're close to, things that are happening in your life that are charged emotionally. And she was close to Charlie. So it would make sense that she would dream about him. Anyways, it's just crazy the amount of like vitriol and hatred people have for Candace because they disagree with her on some things, that they want to say everything she talks about, she's just crazy. Someone told me she has an agenda of her own. Well, I would argue, don't we all in some way? Don't we all have something that we want to accomplish in a specific agenda? Aren't we all just a little bit selfish in some ways? Don't we all have the flesh? And people are literally like being self-righteous, like they're such a good person. They don't have any specific agenda of their own. Everybody, has a plan and a goal that they're working towards. Some people are definitely more selfish than others, but I'm not going to get up and act like I'm perfect and, I do everything selflessly all the time and I don't have any inkling of selfishness that ever comes out in any way. I still have the flesh. Sometimes I fall short. And so most people, they do have agendas, whether good or bad. And even if she does have an agenda, she's trying to build up her clout or whatever. What she's talking about is still true. It's still true. So even if she does have an agenda, she's still right to question Charlie Kirk's assassination and the narrative. And so miss me with all this stuff. And then the next bombshell, we're still not done. She released some text messages with her and Charlie Kirk.
I am not making up these messages. Okay. Turning point. Actually, Mikey McCoy has access to all of Charlie Kirk's messages. They can tell you that these ones are real. Here is what he wrote. We were again talking about Kanye. Charlie wrote to me, "You're going to be the Iron Lady of America." He had such a political vision for me. I never wanted that sort of a thing. I see it so freaking clearly. I might be Moses, though. I might not see this whole thing through. LMAO. If that is the case, be my David. I said, dude, you haven't even realized your power yet. He's like, you're so young, was what I was thinking. He said, if I tell you the true prophecy that I know in my gut, it's really sad, but I hope it's wrong. He went on to say, anyway, I am not sure if I will live to see the end of this revolution. I believe you were the piece that God meant me to meet that will finish the fight. Since the beginning of TPUSA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all the time, like all the time. Anyway, that's depressing combo for another time, LMAO. I said, that's weird, more of a fear manifestation than an actualization. He said, I'm not really afraid of it, but I'm just telling you what I know to be true. And he told me that. I don't know why. Charlie knew he was going to die young. And I don't know. I just felt like I needed to share that because it is in part why the moment that Charlie got shot, I just knew he was betrayed spiritually. In the same way that Charlie knew that he was going to die young, I knew that this was a part of something bigger. And so I wanted to say to you guys, to the people that betrayed Charlie, I would recommend that you come clean, okay?
And so since we're going to wrap it up there, I would say if you think you're going to die young and you have a feeling like you're going to die soon, like Charlie had, that almost all the time means some type of betrayal is going to happen. You're in a system, you're in a group, you're in an organization or something where you suspect that they are going to take you out for whatever reason. You're going against their agenda. You're one day going to go against their agenda. They don't like you, but they're acting like they like you. People just don't suspect they're going to die young for no reason. It's generally betrayal, and they're in a very bad situation where people with high power that are close to them, that have access to you, or to them or to Charlie in this specific situation, have the ability to assassinate you. And this works through betrayal. And so I don't think Candace is way off like many people are making her out to seem. Like she's way off. She's lost her mind. Everything she talks about when it comes to this situation is so far from the truth. She's literally making good points. She's making great points, in my opinion, about this specific event. And we'll leave it there. Again, disclaimer, I have to do this so much because I've done disclaimers before and people are like, oh, you're sending Candace to your flock? You're going to let her destroy your flock? What? I can't agree with any kind of famous figure on a specific point. And let me just make this statement, this analogy. Because people are harping on the fact that she's Catholic and that goes against the gospel that I teach, which is true. But I can still agree with famous figures who are even unsaved on some things. If you have a doctor, a lot of people have doctors that are not Christian, but they trust them to do their job because they're professional and they studied and they have experience and they have a track record. And so if I go to my family doctor, which I used to go, he was a Muslim. Last name was Abdullah, right? And he tells me I have a brain tumor. He did the x-ray or whatever, the MRI he does, and says, you have a brain tumor and we need to work on you and get this taken care of. And I'm like, you know what, dude, you're a Muslim. You have a false gospel. I'm not going to trust anything you say. Well, you know what? I would be really unwise to act like that just because I can't separate things that need to be separated. I can't compartmentalize things that need to be separated into different compartments. Yes, he has a different faith that doesn't align with the true gospel of Jesus Christ. But we're not even talking about that here. We're talking about my medical situation, which has to do with biology, which has to do with just, things that exist outside of Christianity. We're talking about like just science at this point, and I'm not saying science is separate from Christianity, but I'm saying that you could be good in the medical field and understand it without knowing the gospel or even being saved. And so if I just say I disregarded everything he said because he was a Muslim, and I say, you know what? I don't believe you, dude. I don't have a tumor. I mean, I do nothing to even try to better my health. I do nothing. I change nothing. I continue eating this whack food, McDonald's, and, just watching TV all day and maybe just sitting next to the microwave for 2 hours on end and just do dumb stuff that's going to make it worse. I'm going to likely die before my time because I didn't actually take good advice from somebody, even though they weren't of the faith. They still had something right. And I'll end that there. Okay? May the Lord keep you. May he bless you. May he shine his face upon you always and give you peace. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.